You know, when it comes to Undercover Boss, that show's always packing a ton of drama and some seriously off-the-wall stuff. I mean, like, it's got those moments that are almost, like, freaky in a way. So today, we're gonna break down those crazy moments. Buckle up, folks, cause it's gonna be one wild ride for sure. Number 1. Hooters. So, here's the deal. Cody Brooks goes incognito, and what he finds is an absolute freak show. And the person to blame?
It looks style to me.
Okay, makeup, is it on?
Yes.
She looks like a Hollywood starlet.
Yes.
Right? Okay, that's what we're...
Yep, that's Jimbo, and it seems like making women feel uncomfortable was his favorite thing to do. Don't even get me started about the way he tries to bring women down. Don't believe me? Don't worry, you will.
Compliment her on her lack of nails. My, those are some non-glamorous nails you have.
That's rich coming from someone who looks pretty much dead beat. And his chain of disrespect had just gotten started. Trust me, the next move he pulls is not just disrespectful, but vile.
We'll leave early today. Cuts are gonna be on games. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're gonna play my reindeer games. Yes.
So Jimbo here has got some games he wants to conduct, and they're in no way appropriate. But does he care? I think not.
Shove their faces down in the beans and have them clean it up, you know?
Right?
Sucker down, good times, all right?
They seem to like.
Like, how's this guy still here? He's gotta go. And his bean-eating game is so bad that it's gotta make you uncomfortable.
That's a heart attack.
Cody was visibly disturbed, and it was time to strike. He revealed his identity to him during the final confrontation, and he made him apologize. This was not the only time when women were disrespected on the show. Number 2. Bikini Sports Bar and Grill. Now, the name of the bar itself suggests what the scenario is gonna be like. The whole concept of the restaurant is to hire attractive women and dress them skimpily. The boss, Doug Guller, is such a fan of this concept that he even calls the place a
restaurant. And I love the fact that we're a restaurant.
So that's why you even trademarked the term.
Get it? Cause it's all about, you know, yeah. Can't say I'm a huge fan of the boss, to be honest. And when he goes to the place all incognito, he's met by Jessica, the restaurant manager, and he was not impressed.
Well, let me pour this beer real quick. Then go ahead and jump behind the bar.
Yep, he was definitely not impressed, and wanna know why?
Jessica's not in a bikini top. That's not what we do here at Bikinis. You wear a bikini top, jean shorts, and cowboy boots.
Like, the fact you even open a restaurant that completely objectifies women, and when they go against the obviously unnecessary rule, you're surprised? So it wasn't an everyday attire either. It was just this once when she wore the shirt, and yet Doug had a problem with that. So once Doug reveals his identity, guess what his major concern was that he wanted to discuss?
I was the bikini top, of course.
Next thing we know, he pulled a move that no one was ready for, especially Jessica.
I'm sorry, Jessica. It's not working out. Today's your last day.
This wasn't the only time things got crazy on the show. Number 3. Retrofitness. So, Eric Casabury, CEO of Retrofitness, goes undercover to one of his chains, and there he is met with...
That's me.
That's you.
Hi. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yep, that's Jacqueline, the front desk, and let me tell you, she was a real piece of work. The one thing you should know about her is that she's got one hell of a personality, and it's nowhere near pleasant. You gotta listen to what she thinks about the customers.
People love to interrupt here. People love to be obnoxious.
That's not all.
I'm not a slave. I don't work for you. I don't know what to do with some people. I just want to punch them in the face sometimes.
First of all, you do work for them. Maybe not under them, but it is your job to serve them, so cut the crap. Second of all, what? Punch them? My God, this woman is an aggressive one. And if you thought that was the end of her rant, you're wrong.
They don't know anything. They don't know how to use a machine, so they're over here looking like doing the machine. And they come up here and they're like, well, what does protein do?
The only stupid person here is Jacqueline, because she doesn't know whom she's talking to. With all this in mind, you can tell that she wasn't great with the members.
Your payment's overdue.
I know, I'm gonna pay it tomorrow.
No, you gotta pay today. Hello, no, listen. How many times do I have to tell you? Don't with me, dude.
Yep, that was the final straw for Eric, and you can imagine what happened next. Yeah, that's right, she was fired. Thank God, right? Let's keep things moving, shall we? Number 4. Diamond Resorts. In this episode, Stephen J. Klubik goes undercover at one of his resorts, and what he finds is totally unexpected.
And we need their credit card numbers to make the authorization.
I read online though.
So he goes into work at the front desk, and the employees there explain everything to him, also revealing the fact that they keep credit card numbers. Now, I don't know about y'all, that seems pretty illegal to me, and I wasn't the only one to think so.
And the laws say that you can't keep credit card numbers.
The employee made it clear that she wasn't aware of that and that the orders she received are from the management. So this move was not one that was pulled on their own. Steven was far from okay with this. It was a major issue, not just for the resort, but for the guest as well.
She lost on that.
You're probably right.
With an issue like this going on, a complaint was bound to arise.
Off discounts, and there's all these items that were not discounted because they didn't present the card ahead of time.
I'm mortified.
Yikes, things were not looking great, that's for sure. Steven was so done that the next thing he did was totally off the script.
I own Diamond Resorts. I'm not happy. I'm really not happy about this.
What a move! Things luckily ended on good terms, and the employees most likely even received better training. Next up we have number 5, Yankee Candles. Harlan Kent, CEO of Yankee Candles, goes undercover. And when he meets Dan, he was not ready for it. Dan's not exactly the most pleasant guy. Why, you ask?
Lots of politics, my friend. Okay. I think it takes a lot harder. That's not a good thing. I tell you, man, I would never take what I've been through in my life. I wouldn't trade it. My dad was a heroin addict.
Yeah, he was definitely not the biggest fan of kids, and you could see that clearly. But that was nothing compared to what he says next.
Shooting needles. 14 to 16, we kind of dealt with seeing it.
There's something seriously wrong with this guy. But hey, this guy's not just a kid hater. Turns out he hates almost everyone. His temper is definitely a key concern here, cause
I've been giving a tremendous amount.
yeah, Harlan was not having it. Once he revealed who he was, he made it clear that his behavior and the language he used was unacceptable. But maybe there's more to this guy, cause his dad used to be a raging alcoholic. So it's safe to say he grew up in a tough environment. That explains his behavior to an extent. He didn't get fired, but Harlan definitely wanted to help him find a job he was passionate about. And for Dan, that was sure a start. Don't go anywhere yet, because things are just getting started. Moving to our next stop, we have number 6, Boston Market. In this one, Chief Brand Officer of Boston Market, Sarah Bittorf, to do the undercover mission. So there is at the restaurant, and there she meets Ronnie. Now, Ronnie may look like a nice guy, but he's far from it.
Greet the customer as they walk in and say, hello, welcome to Boston Market, blah, 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 whatever. Because we have to make customers, on a pedestal.
You'd think he stopped there, but nope.
It does get busy, but it's generally just people taking too long to eat.
It's a restaurant, what do you expect? That wasn't the end either, though.
It's like, hey, would you like to sample our loaded mashed potatoes? It shouldn't be a question. You should be forcing it down my throat.
Man, I don't know what those customers did to him for him to be so bitter. Like his bitterness was out of hand. His next attack was what did it for Sarah, it seems.
Children and old people are literally the worst I've ever seen in my entire life.
And she made the ultimate move. Yep, you guessed it right. He was fired. Are we surprised though? Number 7, Buffalo Wings. Nader Masada, CEO of Buffalo Wings, goes undercover, totally unrecognizable, and there he is met with a sticky situation. He was not prepared for this. So enter Wes, and he doesn't see the warmest guy.
Slow moving so far, so.
Nope, far from it. And he's got jokes up his sleeve, and let's just say they're not cracking anyone up.
Yep. Let's go. Get in there. Okay.
He did not just say that. That was an out of limit. But that was not the end of it.
You guys been walked on a time or two in his life. Nobody walks on me.
Inappropriate jokes were kind of like his thing. So Nader's having a rough time handling the kitchen. He was obviously new to this and needed clear guidance, which Wes couldn't give. As a result, Nader was falling behind, and that had ticked Wes off because next comment was totally not nice.
He's old. He's got lead in his ass. He's definitely overdropped on fries.
Now, I don't know about you, but in my dictionary, Wes is the definition of a bully. It was obvious that Nader a fan of behavior.
What an ass. Is that how he talks to his employees?
He couldn't believe that all this while the other employees had to deal with this crappy behavior. Like, how were they even putting up with this? He had enough of this and decided he was left. And that is exactly what happened. The list goes on, and up next we have number 8, Checkers and Rallies. In this one, Rick Silva goes incognito to one of Chain's, and his expectation for the place was high. But when he got there, things were not as they seemed.
Sir. No problem, sir. I have something down now.
Looks a manager who won't get off people's back is what we're dealing with here. But that's not all. The manager does more than just yelling.
How many hours do you have right now? So if you go on overtime, I can take you outside and beat you up, right?
Yeah, he was threatening people. That's crossing line there. And Rick had seen enough. It was for a chat with the manager.
It worked for you with the way you talk to people inside there. The first hour that you talked to me that way, I would leave. I wouldn't even leave my name tag in my... I would walk out the door and never come back.
But guess what the manager had to say? According to him, speaking softly doesn't get things done, so the only option is being hard on the crew. But Rick realized later that his behavior is not on purpose. It's a product of not being given enough training, and so he does what no CEO has ever done. He shuts down the business till things get a fresh start. Now that's something. The lust doesn't just end there, though. Number 9. Armando Montalongo. CEO of one of the biggest real estate flipper, Armando goes undercover at his company's call center. But what finds out is something he was not ready for. So there he is trying out the work, just making phone calls, and the usual, you know. But there's a fault in the system.
And then go ahead and just hit recover webpage.
Yeah, I meant literally. This issue wasn't just a tiny hiccup. An issue like this could put the whole company at stake. And it doesn't just happen once in a blue moon, but twice a day. Man, that's crazy. This is a real threat, and he knew that.
I'm incredibly upset right now. We're losing money.
This happened so often that the team was used to it, which was the real issue. Armando couldn't go on like this, especially he could let his team go on like this. And what does he do?
Hi, this is Armando.
Yep, the cover's out, and he's upset. But he wasn't giving up. He told them exactly what they needed to hear.
Don't just have them fix it upstairs. Bring him down here. And have one of them here until it's fixed.
Yep, tell him, Armando. Now get ready, because this one's a wild one. Number 10, Twin Peaks. Randy Dewitt, the founder of Twin Peaks Undercover, and like every CEO, he had hopes for his place turning out perfect. But things don't always go as planned. At the restaurant, he meets Marissa, and boy, did she run her mouth like a sailor.
It's called pure seduction, but I think it's called pure erection.
Now, Marissa had a serious problem with the ranking system, saying that it ranked based on how attractive one looked, which was totally not the case.
She left out a lot of things, such as selling merchandise.
Let's focus on the more important thing here, her mouth.
I get a lot of questions about my tats. Like, they call me fire crotch.
Call you what now?
Fire crotch, because I have flames coming out of my...
Her use of inappropriate language in like every single sentence was a huge problem.
Have you met Chata? As in, Chata?
Randy wasn't a huge fan, so once he reveals his true identity, he laid it down simple. That language was not acceptable, and that she needed to work on it. I'd say things ended on good terms. Number 11, Buffets Inc. Anthony's all geared up in his undercover suit, and he is ready to see how things are sailing behind the scenes. And what he found was beyond shocking. What in the... That's just the beginning, because when he meets Sky, he gives him peek into his job, and Anthony, well, let's just say he was a bit shocked at how things worked.
Job is send all this through the dishwasher.
Okay.
When they come through the door, make them put the wherever you want.
That doesn't sound well organized. Wait up, he's a little comment to make, and it's not a good one.
Each of your slaves.
But that's not all. The job Anthony was given was nothing short of easy. Nope, it was far from it.
Here, you put them in the water. Sometimes you have to scrub them, sometimes you don't. Ask, you take it, put it down, and you gotta run it through.
That's a bit unfair, giving him that amount of work when he just started out. Like, you gotta go easy. Anthony was starting to realize that this was not a fair game.
So the basics, and then that's it, and then we have to go.
1 minute of training.
If you can't do it, then you can't do it.
No, I mean, you gave me 1 minute.
Yikes. So, what do you know, once Anthony took off his mask, it was showtime. When confronted, Sky, you won't believe what he said.
Basically how I got trained.
Let me back up. There was no training.
So basically, there was no training given. That's messed up. Keeping that in mind, he was given a second chance. Hopefully he'll do some this time. The list continues. Number 12, Modell Sporting Goods. Modell Sporting Goods is one of the biggest sporting companies out there, and its CEO, Mitchell Modell, is about to go undercover. So on mission, he goes to one of his stores, and there he meets Angel. And one thing I can confidently say is that her name matches her personality. You'd be surprised of the struggles this lady goes through.
Homeless for a long time. We live in a shelter now. It doesn't even...
The sad fact is if she was still homeless and living in a shelter house, that could only mean one thing. She was not paid enough. The CEO was beyond shocked and wanted to help in any way possible, so you wouldn't believe what he did next.
And that's why I'm promoting you to assistant manager.
What?
A well-deserved promotion, honestly, one that was long overdue. Hope this lady's doing well. But hey, let's get to our next one. Number 13, Popeyes. Lynn Zappone, Chief Talent Officer of Popeyes, is all geared up for one thing, and we all know what that is: undercover mission. So she's in one of her outlets, and there she's met by prep cook Aaron. And let's just say he knows how to run his mouth. When talking about corporate and how he'd love to be one someday, Lynn asked this basic question: whether they come visit, and his answer will surely blow your mind.
Come to visit?
Yeah, some shouldn't come visit. Just complete and total for no reason. Like, what are you mad about?
Looks like he was not impressed with those corporate people and the attitude they brought with themselves. His rant didn't stop there.
You're not back here frying chicken. You're not back here doing none of these things. You came in here smelling like Dolce & Gabbana cologne. You left out of here smelling like Dolce & Gabbana. What are you?
Lynn was a bit bothered by his rant because at the end of the day, she herself was one. Later on, something unexpected happened.
The white man is up there with that hat on. That man crazy. I order a different chicken. Stop yelling that out. I heard you calling that out like this man didn't order damn near 100 pieces of chicken. I'm talking to you. Can you come back here? I need different.
He was yelling at one of the crew members like it was totally okay, and Lynn was not happy with it. Once her real identity was all out in front, she made it clear that the behavior he showed was not cool. And that was it. He was back in the game, and this time, he'll do better. Number 14, Menchie's. One of the largest frozen yogurts in the world is Menchie's, and their CEO, yeah, he is on a mission to see how things are running over there. So Amit Keenberger is all undercover, and he goes into one of the chains and he meets Drew, shift lead. Drew isn't your everyday sweet blonde.
So just always smiley, happy. I mean, if you want to be rude, I guess that could be a twist, but...
Later on, it was time to get to working, and she isn't much of a help, especially in guiding Amit.
Cleaning the machines from the front, the drip trays, just taking...
But wait, cause she's got something to say.
Working here at Menchie's, pretty much sucks. That's not my favorite.
Really?
I feel like pretty people shouldn't have to do anything.
Pretty people should not do...
Oh boy, there's more.
Or marry a plastic surgeon and not have to do anything.
Okay, she's got wild plans. She seems more interested in her looks than work.
Like money, and I have expensive taste, and I need things. But...
One thing's for sure, she's got her priorities straight. That's rare. But wait, she makes a joke that doesn't sit too well with Amit, and you gotta hear it.
Call it.
Tanorexic?
Yep. I like to say melanoma or bust.
Once the cover was out, he made it clear to her.
I will let you stay with us, but I need you to raise your standards.
She agrees and receives proper training after that, so I'd say she got lucky she wasn't kicked out. Moving on. Number 15, Kendall Jackson Winery. Rick Tigner's ditching the suit and tie for some undercover action, and he's at the winery to see how things are sailing, but he was not expecting this.
The job has its perks and every job has its both you got to deal with, you know. My job just happens to happen.
So they were out to do some deliveries, but the driver here, one of the employees, thought it was the right time to rant.
Oh, like, what are you doing here right now? Like, what do you want me to do? You either want the wine or you don't, right? You know, it's on you.
He kept going.
Workers, they're just work associates. I mean, after a 16-hour day and they tell you this or that or try to give you attitude, I mean, the first thing that comes to your mind.
And his language was just off the charts, throwing in some pretty colorful words.
You know what I mean? You want your goal at the end of the day, customer service, all that.
Yeah, you could tell he didn't care a lot about the customers either. Regardless of his attitude, he was not fired, but rather given a second go at this. Let's just hope he does it well this time. Number 16, ONeal. Alright, check this out. ONeal, one of the major surfwear makers, and their big cheese, Toby Host, are going all undercover. So Toby has this meetup with Jesus, not the real deal, of course. So Toby has this meetup with Jesus, not the real deal, of course. And not having a clue who Toby really is, Jesus goes on a little rant about the clothes they're peddling.
Like this clothing,
like this type of clothes in here just because straight up, man, it's just a douche.
He even drops the douche brand bomb. Man, how can you throw that shade when that's your cash cow? And he doesn't stop there.
It's done, over with. You would never see me wearing an ONeal shirt.
But the kicker is what comes next.
Pick up a girl on your first date, you want to look like a man, you don't want to look like a 5-year-old like your mom picked this out. That's like a 5th grader would wear instead of a grown-ass man.
Toby must have been shook. Toby can't handle Jesus' attitude. And guess what? He doesn't hesitate to spill the beans about being a total slacker when it comes to the job. It's like he doesn't give a darn. But then he drops the bomb about puffing on some greens before work. But what really threw Toby for a loop is what went down.
That's some really good weed. If you're really interested.
That had to hit a nerve with Toby for sure. Once the cat was out of the bag, Jesus didn't get the pink slip, but he's not off the hook either.
Entire week. You're going to work with me. You're going to work with a lot of my executives.
Yep, you guessed it. He's in for some extra training. So keep your eyes peeled, because what's coming up next is number 17, Renee Maloney. Renee's slipping into stealth mode to go to her company and see how things work herself. While things may be running smooth for the employees, we can't say the same for Renee.
So we're gonna take some white to the left. How's everybody feeling?
Yeah, the response was crickets. The class felt like it was on life support. Renee definitely ain't Picasso with a paintbrush. She even tried to save the day with a joke, but it landed flatter than a pancake. I swear, even a 10-year-old could do better.
There was a blonde-headed lady who got on an airplane, and the stewardess said,
Believe me, I'm not making this stuff up.
And he said, I told her the front of the airplane wasn't going to Seattle.
Man, it was painful to watch. But our next guest on the list, man, he legit outed himself. Number 18. Donado's. Jane Grody-Abel, the head honcho of Donado's Pizza, decided to go all covert, and let me tell you, she totally aced the undercover game. She was out on a delivery mission with Aaron, and well, he got a little too cozy with her.
And they will invite me to come in for a little bit, and I'll kind of indulge.
The fact that he just spilled the beans to the top dog herself, that's pretty hilarious. Jane was not feeling it though.
Just to him how serious this is, and it's illegal, and it's just not okay.
Yeah, definitely not.
I am really against it.
I'm sorry. I don't want to disappoint you.
Especially getting behind the wheel.
I mean, she's spot on. Things could take a bad turn. It's not just about the company's image. It could even lead to some real trouble. Of course, Jane had to make the tough call. She couldn't have someone like Aaron on the team, so he got the boot, all for the right reasons. We're almost to the finish line, so don't touch that dial. Number 19, Lohmann's. So Steve Newman, the Lohmann's CEO, is going all incognito, and he's teaming up with Keisha, who's, well, let's say she ain't the poster child for visual merchandising or any job really. But it's not because she's a total dud at her gig. The real reason is something you wouldn't guess.
You gotta give me a chance to learn.
So,
I had never done it. I didn't even know the brands. I didn't know how many styles there were. And she was already telling me that I was doing it wrong within 30 seconds. I'm just trying to sort.
And hold on, there's more. She's got a big mouth, and what comes out of it isn't all sunshine and rainbows.
We want to look like Macy's. We want to compare ourselves to Lord & Taylor. However, we're looking a lot like the dump store. I mean, I think there's thrift stores that look better, and that's really sad. I don't.
Yikes. Just wait until you catch what she dropped next. It was way out of line.
Rita Lowe would probably be turning over in her grave if she saw the stuff that was going on now. And that's kind of my big...
There was no turning back after that one. Steve couldn't deal with all that negativity. It was like a dark cloud hanging over the company. So once his cover was blown, he had a real heart-to-heart with her, calling her out on all that negativity. Surprisingly, she didn't get the boot, but she swore to step up her game. We've reached our final stop. You ready for it? Number 20, Empire CLS. Davis Seelinger, the big shot CEO over at Empire CLS, the fancy chauffeur deal, was all set to go undercover and check out what's cooking in the dispatch scene. Now, meet Anthony, our man in charge of dispatch. He's not exactly a ray of sunshine, and the way he does things, well, let's just say it's up for debate.
Go to his house. You don't have me on speakerphone, do you? I want to talk to you, not him. Your opinion, bro. If you're there for a minute, is it that big of a deal for you to make it?
So there's this customer who wants to add a pit stop, but Anthony isn't all gung-ho about it. He has to consult with the chauffeur and makes it a whole production. Honestly, it's not even that big of a deal. I don't get why he's stretching it out so much. After a quick powwow with the chauffeur, he finally gets back to the customer.
He's advising me that this is actually not on the way from JFK.
The customer's like, dude, I know this city like the back of my hand. I know where I'm stopping. But Anthony, he isn't backing down.
I'm familiar with the city as well, bro. I'm adding an extra stop. There's no question within my mind. But it's on the way home. You're lying to me.
Davis is steaming, and he knows it's time to drop the hammer. In the final showdown, he doesn't give Anthony the boot, but he lays down the law. That attitude of his won't get him anywhere. Fingers crossed he steps up his game down the road. That's a wrap for today. Which one of these moments had you chuckling the most? Drop your favorite in the comments below. And if you're hungry for more fun and creativity, be sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe for a steady stream of engaging content. Stay tuned, there's always more where that came from.